Okay, I've got a lot of notes here on the 12th house sun spiritual gifts. This is where we're at. My name is Tracy Leela with soul2soul.ca. I want to encourage you to subscribe, like the video, turn on notifications. And again, please know that your engagement and support does help my channel to grow. And in its growth, I can reach more people who are in need of guidance for healing. If you want to book a reading, please visit soul2soul.ca to book. Okay, I as well am a 12th house sun, if you don't already know. And so these gifts are I don't believe that there is a placement in a birth chart that would give greater spiritual gifts than a 12th house sun. I mean, the 12th house is about spirituality. It's about the spiritual gifts. There are other houses that will give you spiritual gifts and heighten your intuition. But the 12th house, every planet within the 12th house like grants that person with its own unique spiritual gifts. And when we talk about the sun is of the soul. The sun is of your spirit. The sun is of your purpose here in this life path. And when you put the sun into a spiritual, watery, Piscean, Neptunian, mutable energy, you get some deep knowings, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairfactual, clairgustance. You get all these intuitive spiritual senses that just hit you on a soul level. I mean, let's get started. High intuition and great psychic abilities. I'm just looking at my notes here to keep me on track because I do have a lot, and I'm going to try to go through it a little, quickly. I'm not going to try to stick on things too much. I'm trying to keep to my notes. There is just a close connection with the divine with the 12th house sun. You have this direct connection with divine energy. You're able to have outer body experiences like astral travel. You have this artistic and spiritual and intuitive and mystic way about you that's just so natural. And your spiritual path, your healing, and your service to others is incredibly critical and at the foundation and core of your existence here. This is your purpose. And when we talk about the spiritual gifts, the downfalls, the mastery, I just want to bring up addiction because it all depends on that zodiac sign as well. That's within your 12th house, the ruling planet that's over there in connection with the watery undercurrent of Pisces. Having a 12th house sun is how you are going to handle all of that consciously. It depends on whether or not you've got other planets in the house and also what aspects it's making to the other planets in your chart. How are you going to handle all of that spiritual content that's coming naturally to you as a 12th house sun if you haven't gone through your healing? Because a 12th house sun person has faced enormous hardships and pain, suffering that is beyond what anybody else could understand for that person. I am a 12th house sun person, and I know the excruciating pain that I had to go through in my life experience, but I do not understand yours because our paths are different, our charts are different, our suns, although they're in the same house, you might not have Virgo in your 12th house, right? You may not have the moon conjunct your sun in the 12th house as I do. And so our experiences are going to be a little bit different. But the commonality that we have is that we have daddy issues. Our fathers they abandoned us. They left. We've got dysfunctional relationships with them. He's probably an alcoholic. And you probably have some kind of addiction that you're holding on to for you to figure out how to cope with all that you're experiencing, all that you experienced, and all that you are that you may not be aware to. And so for a 12th house sun, You see, I want to keep all my notes, but I also want to stay on topic of where I'm at right now. I don't want to lose my train of thought because this is important. The 12th house sun, you're so connected spiritually with your spiritual senses that you really have to understand your spiritual senses before you dive into the spiritual realm and open and expand them before having a foundational understanding of the mechanics of spiritual senses. Basically, a person with 12th house planets, and especially the sun, you're connected spiritually, which means that you're connected to spirit, you're connected to your guides, and along your path and through your healing, your spiritual senses will only awaken and you will only be attuned to your spiritual senses and your gifts. I from what I understand from spirit, it's based on our level of healing, and we can be blocked. We are already blocked from the 12th house from the first because it's an aversion. And this is important because if your spiritual senses open, expand, and awaken too fast where you're not at the right level of healing, it will be detrimental and you will fall either into an asylum, jail, death, or hospitalization. The spiritual senses are nothing to play around with. It's not a trend. It's sacred. It's expansive beyond our own understanding and comprehension. And it's something that must be worked with and used with the utmost respect and ethics. There is a foundational mechanics of our spiritual senses that I believe needs to be understood before you start to explore them on a deeper level. Because the 12th house person is so connected naturally, spiritually, if you open and expand them too fast, it can be detrimental. And this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. And I really want to focus on this because of how important it is. I do want to tap into what I said about it not being a trend, and not opening them too fast, because I find that a lot of the spiritual senses today, that it's become modernized in a way. And a lot of people are working and tuning into spiritual senses with an unethical behaviors behind it. And your spiritual senses, we need to use them with high ethics. It's nothing to be used without a greater understanding that it is connected to a dimension, a world that is so vast beyond our comprehension that you could be messing with something that you don't want to be messing with. You could be opening up something that you don't understand, because today I feel like this, the spiritual ways have just become a little bit too trendy for me, where we've lost respect and ethics. And so this is very important as a 12th house sun to move forward in the exploration of your 12th house sun, to really master it in understanding that you need to heal, and you need to continue healing, and you need to realize that that's going to be at the basis and core of the rest of your life is healing. Healing yourself so you can be of the greatest vessel and service for other people in their healing. It doesn't stop. It's a continuous journey. We have to understand that our spiritual senses are to be respected. They are sacred. They're to be understood greatly. And they're to be open, expanded, and moved into with a slow and gradual process. And we have to understand ethics, that when we begin to understand the senses and we become excited over them, that we are only using them for our own personal intentions, and we only use them for the highest good of all and where asked to be used. We are never to use it upon other people or to tune into other people without permission. And this is working with ethics. And so this, understanding all of this, is under mastering your sun, because you are the greatest intuitive, of high intuition. And so, I mean, I don't want to say the greatest, because we don't want to place ego of the greatest, but I want you to realize that as a 12th house sun, how tuned in you really are. The 12th house sun blessings. There's a level of faith and hope with a 12th house sun. It's like it saves your life. A 12th house sun, the heartache. Again, it also depends on the other planets, if you have other planets in your 12th house. But there is a hope and faith within you that is so strong, so tightly knit within your being, within your heart chakra, that keeps you going and surviving. And if it wasn't for faith, you feel like you probably would have fell. And that is because the sun is so closely connected with the divine. Because the sun is of the soul, the sun is of the spirit, and the sun being in the 12th house of spirituality, you know that faith. There's just something in you that knows, I just got to hold on to my faith, because I know when my world is crumbling around me, and it often has always been crumbling around me. I feel like I'm walking on a tightrope my entire life. And my guides are just like, oh, no, you're not going to fall. No, you're not going to fall. But it's this constant tightrope. But I wouldn't be able to walk on that tightrope if I didn't have faith. Faith is literally the number one thing that has gotten me through my life and that has me here today. And that is a 12th house sun. So be proud of that and hold on to that and never let that go. And know that that is one of your greatest assets, is your ability to have that faith. Because not everybody has the ability to hold on to that faith. People feel like they're slipping and falling. But the reason why you have to keep rising up and hold on to your faith is because you need to be there to help some of these people. Not one sun. We all gotta do our part, right? I'm a 12th house sun. You're a 12th house sun. There's other 12th house suns. We got to do our job. And our faith is, I believe it's such a blessing that we have. And it helps you to pull you out of depression. It helps to pull you out of the pain, the heartache, the suffering. It is that one thing that you could just reach to and just hold on to, and you'd be like, I don't have nothing else, but I have my faith. And I'm gonna just leave it there. There really isn't much more to say about mastering the 12th house. I think I covered it all. But know that your wounds, your pain is not for nothing. And I keep repeating this message in other videos, that our pain that we suffer in the 12th house is to be worked through shadow work, understood, and so we could be of service to other people. Because unless you've lived through it, you'll never really understand it. And when you understand it, then you can relate to other people who are facing similar situations. Not the exact, but similar. And so we have our spiritual gifts to guide us. We have our connection with the divine that's just like this to help support us as a foundation, so we can go out into the world, fulfill our calling, and to be of service. Until next time.